All right, so I had scenario 32, and my name is Caitlin McNeely. So basically, just some background about the scenario I had was pertaining to biotechnology firms and pharmaceutical firms forming alliances. And some background was that in 2001 to 2002, there were 923 new strategic alliances. Those were publicly announced in this industry. Of the 923 alliances, there were a total of 217 new ones that occurred between pharmaceutical and biotechnology firms. Two organizations that formed an alliance were GenProbe and Chiron, and in 1998, they formed in order to develop, manufacture, and commercialize nucleic acid tests and instrumentation that have been used by blood banks for screening purposes. The collaboration between Chiron and GenProbe is the long-term orientation that both parties shared. They established it in 1998, and it was scheduled to expire in 2013, but it was extended to 2025. In a press release, the original terms for agreement was that GenProbe was responsible for manufacturing costs, while Chiron was responsible for commercial expenses. The companies shared R&D costs, and they shared revenue from the sale of blood screening assays. And only 1/3 of the 923 alliances mentioned occurred between biotechnology firms. So basically, what is a strategic alliance? And the book definition is a strategic alliance is any formal agreement between two or more organizations for purposes of ongoing cooperation and mutual gain. Why should biotechnology and pharmaceutical firms form an alliance? So it would be called BioPharm. Basically, it will increase their odds of winning regulatory approval to market new drugs to other companies. So them forming together, they're going to have a higher probability of getting things approved by the government and by people on the board that approves that kind of stuff. And biotechnology firms need certain aspects that pharmaceutical companies can provide and vice versa. So some aspects that and some positives that biotechnology firms provide, it will benefit pharmaceutical companies, and some benefits that pharmaceutical companies provide, it will benefit biotechnology firms. So they go hand in hand, and they kind of help each other out. Some problems that can occur when these two form an alliance would be the environmental problems, strategy problems, structure problems, and behavior problems. And first, I probably should have talked about the alliance problems versus symptoms, but this is basically defined as the distinction highlights that there's often disagreements as to why alliances fail, and that this disagreement is often rooted in mistaking a root cause for a mere symptom. So, like I said, the problems that can occur from these alliances being formed would be the environmental, strategy, structure, and behavior problems. Let's see. Okay. So there are tensions that can come from forming an alliance, and they include increased competition from other alliances between different pharmaceutical and biotechnology firms. So if a different biotechnology and pharmaceutical firm forms an alliance that are in competition with another one, that can be a tension that occurs between all of that. And increased public scrutiny of the business practices and profits by the government, and as well as discovering new products. So how to address these problems would be, for the first tension, it can be addressed by both the pharmaceutical and biotechnology firms working together to establish clear goals and objectives. So obviously, they need to have a relationship, and they need to discuss with each other what their goals are going to be, what their objectives want to be. That way, everything will run smoothly, and there won't be many bumps in the road on the way. For the second tension, it can be addressed by just abiding by the rules and regulations. With anything, it's best to just follow the rules and regulations so that, something doesn't, your alliance, doesn't get canceled, or what y'all are trying to achieve, you can't because you've been breaking the rules and the regulations aren't right. So it's better to just, follow all those so that everything, like I said, just goes smoothly. So some challenges would be, alliances allow for complementary resource sharing, and maintaining an ongoing alliance is less challenging. So when you're maintaining an alliance that, a previous alliance, like you already have those relationships, everything is, already there. So there's not many challenges with that rather than building new relationships, which is my third point. With building new relationships, they are time consuming. You have to, build that relationship with that pharmaceutical or biotechnology company, and this will involve long protocols of licensing and regulation agreements. And new partnerships can be faced with the challenge of cultural differences between the partners and also communication barriers. So I definitely think that forming an alliance with an organization or firm that you already have a relationship with would be more beneficial, because you're not going to kind of run into all those bumps in the road. So my final question for all of you guys are, do you think biopharm alliances are beneficial to organizations and patients? Thank you.